It's March 10th, 1986. The world is about to witness one of the most anticipated boxing matches of all time. In one corner stands Marvin Hagler, a legendary champion and one of the most undisputed fighters in history. While in the other, the ferocious puncher who stunned the world with his aggressive fighting style. His name was John the Beast Mugabi. With his astounding record of 39 knockouts in 42 fights, Mugabi earned the respect of legends and struck fear in the hearts of champions. But his journey wasn't about his knockouts only. It was a story of overcoming immense struggles, battling powerful opponents and confronting the harsh realities of fame and fortune. So in this episode of Uganda in History, we dive deep into the life of John Mugabi the Beast, a man who rose to the top of the boxing world only to face personal battles that would challenge even the toughest warriors. Now, John Mugabi was born in March 4th, 1960 in Kampala, Uganda, growing up in the capital city during a period marked by political turbulence. Mugabi faced a significant hardships. Now, despite these challenges, he found solace and purpose in sports, particularly boxing. So as a teenager, Mugabi demonstrated a natural aptitude for fighting, and his raw talent was quickly recognized. He would go on to train under local coaches who helped refine his technique and instill discipline. So boxing soon became his passion and a pathway out of hardship. By his late teens, Mugabi had risen through the ranks of Ugandan boxing scene, showcasing his power and determination that would later define his career. So Mugabi's breakout moment came during the 1980 Summer Olympics in Moscow, where he represented Uganda in the welterweight division. His performance was extraordinary. He progressed through the rounds with a decisive victory, defeating formidable opponents across the globe. Now in the finals, Mugabi faced Andreas Aldama of Cuba, a highly skilled opponent. Although Mugabi fell short, earning a silver medal, his achievement placed him among the best amateur boxers in the whole world and brought him to the attention of international boxing promoters. Now the Olympics marked a turning point in his career, setting him up for a transition into professional boxing. Now, John Mugabi's transition into professional boxing was meteoric and filled with dramatic highlights. After a stellar amateur career that included a silver medal at the 1980 Olympics, Mugabi turned into professional boxing in 1980, signing with the professional promoter Mickey Duff. Now, his aggressive style and remarkable knockout power quickly established him as a dominant force in the light middleweight division. So by 1983, Mugabi had amassed an impressive record, winning his first 25 fights all by knockout. Now, this unprecedented streak earned him the nickname The Beast. His reputation was built on a series of devastating performances that made him a feared contender worldwide. Now, fighters like Curtis Ramsey and Earl Hargrove were among his notable opponents during this period. Now, Mugabi's relentless forward-moving style and ability to dismantle his opponents within a few rounds set him apart as one of the most exciting boxers of his era. Now, what further distinguished Mugabi during this phase was his willingness to fight outside Uganda, competing in the United States and the United Kingdom. This exposure not only broadened his fan base but also prepared him for a global recognition as he climbed the ranks of contenders in a highly competitive middleweight division. Now, the ferocity and drama of Mugabi's early professional career culminated in his eventual fight against the marvelous Marvin Hagler in 1986. By then, Mugabi was considered one of the most dangerous challengers in the sports, with his power and precision making him a genuine threat to Hagler's dominance. Now, the fight between marvelous Marvin Hagler and John the Beast Mugabi on March 10, 1986 at the Caesars Palace, Las Vegas is remembered as one of the most punishing bouts in the middleweight boxing history. Now, Hagler was the reigning middleweight champion, known for his unyielding fighting spirit and methodological style. Now, by contrast, Mugabi had built a fearsome reputation as a knockout artist, boasting a 100% knockout record in 25 professional wins. Now, the clash of style between Hagler's calculated brutality and Mugabi's raw power made this match a highly anticipated event. Now, the first few rounds saw Mugabi assert himself with his heavy punches, landing combinations that tested Hagler's legendary chin. Now, Mugabi, with his aggressive approach, forced Hagler to dig deep early on. Now, the champion, however, showcased his adaptability by switching between orthodox and southpaw stances, confusing Mugabi and gradually gaining control. So by the middle rounds, Hagler began to find his rhythm, applying relentless pressure and landing precise body shots that visibly slowed Mugabi. Now, despite Hagler's growing dominance, Mugabi displayed an extraordinary resilience, absorbing punishment and continuing to trade blows. Now, the ebb and flow of the fight kept the ground on its feet as the two warriors engaged in a brutal war of attrition. Now, in the 11th round, Hagler's superior conditioning and tactical prowess became apparent. He capitalized on Mugabi's waning energy, landing a series of devastating punches that ultimately led to a technical knockout. Now, the referee stopped the fight, declaring Hagler the winner and preserving his middleweight title. Now, this fight was notable for testing both men's physical and mental limits. Hagler later admitted that Mugabi hit him harder than anyone he had ever faced, a testament to the Uganda's raw power. Now, despite losing, Mugabi earned respect from his grit and determination against one of the greatest fighters of all time. For Hagler, the fight cemented his reputation as one of the toughest and most skilled champions in world boxing history. However, it was also his last successful title defense, as he would go on to face Sugar Ray Leonard a year later in a controversial loss. Now, for Mugabi, the fight marked the beginning of a challenging phase in his career, but it also secured his place as a respected contender who pushed Hagler to his limits. Now, John Mugabi's journey to becoming the world champion was emblematic of his extraordinary resilience, raw power, and unmatched fighting spirit. Now, his path to the title was not without significant challenges, but each setback only seemed to strengthen his determination to achieve greatness. Now, the iconic 1986 fight with Marvin Hagler proved Mugabi's mantle against one of the boxing all-time greats. However, the defeat took a toll. Mugabi returned to Uganda, disillusioned, and gained weight to a staggering 190 pounds during his time away from the ring. Now, the physical and mental recovery was arduous, but Mugabi remained committed to reclaiming his position in boxing. So in September 1986, Mugabi reconnected with his promoter Mickey Duff, signaling his readiness to return to the competition. Now, despite the optimism surrounding his comeback, his first match against Dwayne Thomas for the vacant WBC light middleweight title ended in a technical knockout loss. Now, Mugabi suffered a broken orbital bone during the fight, requiring immediate surgery, a setback that would have ended his career if it was a much less determined fighter. So after a 14-month break, Mugabi returned to action in January 1988, knocking out Bryant Grant in the undercut of Mike Tyson's defense against Larry Holmes. Now, this victory reignited Mugabi's career, and he embarked on a series of knockout wins that showcased his incredible punching power and ability to dominate in the ring. Now, despite challenges securing high-profile fights, he became the mandatory challenger for the WBC Super Welterweight title. So on July 8, 1989, Mugabi faced Rain Jokot for the WBC Superweight Welterweight title. Demonstrating his trademark ferocity, Mugabi secured his first-round knockout victory, capturing the elusive world title he had long sought for. So he successfully defended the title in a rematch against Jokot again, this time winning by a third-round knockout. Now, these victories solidified Mugabi's legacy as the most feared puncher. Now, Mugabi's title win made him one of the only few fighters from Uganda to reach such a height in professional boxing. His career served as an inspiration to many young athletes in Africa, showcasing the rewards of resilience and hard work. Now, despite subsequent losses and challenges, Mugabi's ability to come back from the adversity highlighted his unyielding spirit and passion for boxing. Now, John Mugabi's later career and retirement were marked by a mix of continued competitions, challenging in the ring, and eventual recognition for his significant contribution to boxing. Now, despite his gradual decline in his performance as age and wear took on his toll, Mugabi's career remained a testament to his fighting spirit and dedication to the sport. Now, following his victory and defense of the WBC Super Welterweight title, Mugabi faced a period of fluctuating success. He lost the title to Terry Norris in 1990 via a first-round knockout, which was a stark contrast to his earlier dominance. Now, this loss marked the beginning of a challenging phase in his career as he struggled to maintain his form against a younger and rising opponent. Now, despite these setbacks, Mugabi continued to fight, amassing victories against lesser-known competitors while also facing high-profile defeats. Now, his characteristic punching power was still evident in many of his fights, but his defensive vulnerability and reduced stamina that had appeared earlier in his career became more pronounced. Now, however, his love for the sports kept pulling him back into the ring. So he officially retired after a final series of fights in the late 1990s, concluding his professional career with a record of 42 wins, of which 39 were by knockout, 7 losses and 1 draw. So his incredible knockout ratio of over 90% remains one of the highest in boxing history, underscoring his reputation as one of the hardest hitters as the sport has ever seen. So in retirement, Mugabi chose to stay connected to the sports, mentoring young fighters and sharing his experience. Now, while not as prominent in public life as one of his contemporaries, he occasionally appeared at boxing events and interviews, reflecting on his career and the golden era of the middleweight boxing. Now, his story from his rise as the Ugandan amateur boxing champion to becoming a global boxing icon continued to inspire young aspiring athletes in Uganda and beyond. So John Mugabi's legacy in boxing was firmly established as part of the golden era of the middleweight division. His fearsome reputation as the beast and his willingness to face the very best fighters of his time earned him widespread respect. Now, despite never achieving consistent dominance as some of his peers, Mugabi's knockout artistry and memory boards, especially one against Marvin Hagler, remain etched in the sport's history. Now, Mugabi has been honored in Uganda as one of the country's greatest athletes. His career paved the way for the future generation of African boxers, showing that even those from humble beginnings could achieve global fame with determination and skill. So after retiring from professional boxing, John the Beast Mugabi experienced both challenges and moments of success. So following his retirement in the late 1990s, Mugabi's life underwent significant transformations. He moved to Australia, where he focused on training other fighters and contributing to the development of the boxing talent. So despite the setbacks he encountered in his later career, including personal financial troubles and health issues, Mugabi's reputation as a boxing legend persisted. Now, his personal life became more focused on his family, and he continued to reflect on his remarkable journey through the sports. So Mugabi's story is marked by his dedication to boxing, his rise to prominence, and the challenges he faced afterward, including loss of money through ill-advised investment and exploitation by figures in the boxing industry. So in later years, Mugabi was inducted in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, securing a place among sports legends. He became an advocate for the next generation of boxers, helping them to avoid the mistakes that he made during his own career. He also became an advocate for the next generation of boxers, helping them to avoid the mistakes he made during his own career. Now, while his post-boxing years have been challenging, with Mugabi occasionally battling health issues and dealing with past financial mistakes, he remains a beloved figure in Uganda and the global boxing community. So if you found this video informative and engaging, don't forget to give it a like, share, and subscribe to the channel to help it grow. This has been Regan for Uganda in History, and see you in another video.